Welcome back, viewers, to another good game. This time we will be talking about Thor and his alternate, Age of Ultron Thor. This request came from a viewer of mine and his son, who just recently pulled Age of Ultron Thor. So let's start with Thor here. Thor has Might of Mjolnir, this passive here. When attacking him while at full charge, grants a free attack. It's an AoE shock attack that procs static shock. So, generally speaking, very good. The abilities I have loaded him with is Inspire Bravery for strengthened, and it generates an extra charge. And then, of course, Vorti combo, Mighty Maneuver. It deals 50% more damage if the attacker has a physical buff, which Inspire Bravery gives. And then 3-star upgrades is Precise, which I highly recommend. And then, of course, Stormfront, an area attack that exploits weakness. If the target has a physical debuff, it does 50% more damage. Static Shock is a physical debuff, so it does a fair amount of damage. And it procs shock, since it's a shock attack. So and does more damage if the target has shock on them, or static shock debuff. So generally speaking, if I were to run him for reals, like 4-star him and stuff like that, I would actually probably skip Inspire Bravery or the Vorti combo here. Probably skip Inspire Bravery and see if I can get it from somebody else, because you really want to have, I think it's this ability here, Call Lightning, yeah. This ability you want to 4-star, because it gives static shock to all your enemies. Very, very, very nice. So you start by doing that, and then you whole team attacks. You of course playing in a static shock team like Electro, Star-Lord, Wasp as a tank, stuff like that. So they can do triggered static shock debuff. And then of course you have Electro that does his chain lightning that triggers static shock on everybody. So again, you really need Call Lightning at 4 stars if you're gonna play Thor for reals. And his mainly use I see for him is in static shock team. Okay, and his ISO slots are 2 green, 2 blue, 2 red, and 1 yellow and 1 white. So he's pretty tough, which is nice. I actually used Thor to get me through heroics in chapter 1, 2, and halfway through chapter 3. So he can take the pain and deal it out as well. Okay, let's go through Age of Ultron Thor. Only have him at level 1, so it's gonna be a theoretical here. He's the wielder of Mjolnir, 40% chance to gain Vorti at the start of each turn, causing blunt actions to deal damage over time. Do a dot. He's also a spirit user. He gains spirit when allies are attacked and uses it to perform powerful mystic abilities. Okay, his innate here is I'm Thor. Thor performs a buff action increasing ally damage when he swaps in. What this is, he gives everybody strengthened, 25% more attack damage. And his tactical is pretty nice compared to Thor's. Thor's just gives resilient. This one gives resilient and rampaging, so also a pretty good upgrade. How I would use him if I actually had him, at level 30 and properly starred, would be to of course use his 3-star skill here, bring down the hammer. This one can do a lot of damage. I've been one-shot in PvP by this ability so many times on my character. Basically, he pretty much survives to be the last one standing most of the time, since he's not the highest threat, which means he can one-shot people with this one, because it deals up to 300% extra damage on spirit spent. And it's also a precise attack, again good against the current evasion meta. And glass cannon. So this is what I would use. I would also use Thunderhead Unleashed, because it's an area attack that generates, you need a spirit generator, and this is gonna be it. It's a melee shock attack that targets all enemies, so it triggers static shock debuff. Area attack, slowed on one enemy, also very nice. And at 4-star upgrades, it generates 45 spirit and 121 damage rating. So very nice. I'm a bit unsure of the last one actually. I'm thinking of this one here, Battle Brother, because you can get it to apply Fortified to everybody in the team. It generates 30 spirit, and it also adds battle ready to Thor. So it performs a free attack that not the ally makes a single target attack. Not that bad actually. So this is probably what I would use. His ISO slotting is 3 yellow, 2 red, 2 green, and 1 blue. So he's very aggressive with 3 yellows. That's the accuracy slot, ISO slot, and 2 red, the attack ISO slot, and some for defense here, green and blue. Green is for health, and blue is for defense. So he's a very aggressive character with that many yellows and reds, 5 out of 8. And with his static shock, you could place him in a static shock team, but you would have to have somebody else to apply it. For example, Thor, regular Thor, or Electro. But he could definitely work in a static shock team. He could also work in a blunt team, like Captain America, regular Captain America. Counters to Age of Ultron Thor, I would have to say basically bruisers are gonna do some good damage to him just because he's a scrapper. But basically, there's no real hard counter to this character because he's not really top of the line character. So they haven't really designed a hard counter to him or Thor. But both him and Thor, actually, now that I think of it, they actually have a hard counter, Iron Fist. Because both Age of Ultron Thor and the regular Thor will be in static shock teams, and Iron Fist Healing Lotus cleanses your whole team of any debuff and prevents debuffs to stick for them on, I think, like 2 or 3 turns. So yeah, definitely the hard counter to both Age of Ultron Thor and regular Thor is Iron Fist with Healing Lotus. I would totally screw over static shock teams in PvP. So well, that's it for this one, the comparison. If I would have to choose to go with one, I would probably go with regular Thor, unless you're doing an Age of Ultron team where you swap in and out characters like Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Widow, Thor. Then I would definitely go with Thor because the swap-in teams, they have potential. I haven't really delved into that yet, but they definitely have potential. So in that team, he will probably be a good one as well, because when you swap him in, you give the whole team strengthened. So yeah, that's my suggestion. Go with regular Thor for everything except on an Age of Ultron team. Then of course go with Thor, Age of Ultron. Anyway, if you have any feedback, leave it in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, have a good game.